Hi everyone and welcome. In this video, I'll walk you through Assignment 3 for EDU30014, Health and Physical Education. We'll look at each part of the assessment, the timeline, the rubric, and some resources to help you complete the task successfully. Assignment 3 is worth 50% of your final grade and it is a team assignment. For the purpose of this assignment, a team refers to a partnership. There are both individual and team elements in this assignment. Part 1 requires you both to develop a 1,000 word lesson plan, plus or minus 10%. Then Part 2 requires your partnership to swap your lesson plans with one another, both providing feedback to each other about each other's lessons. Then in Part 3, you will each individually write a 500 word reflection, plus or minus 10%, reflecting upon the feedback that you have received, justifying choices and lesson revisions with literature from the unit. You are required to use the Assignment 3 template available in the assignment details, and your submission must include your individual lesson plan, 2 checklists. So this is the checklist that you provide to your partner and also the checklist that you have received from your partner about your lesson. You also need to include your individual critical reflection and a reference list. All requirements are to be included in the one document, please, and they are due Monday of week 12. Please remember that this assessment task must be completed without the use of Gen AI. Let's go through Part 1 now. Part 1 is your lesson plan, and you're asked to create a detailed lesson plan using the provided template. It is up to you what your focus is within the health and PE curriculum. When you are designing the lesson, you need to think about writing your lesson for a teacher who has never visited your school before. So you need to include enough detail that someone else could confidently teach your lesson without needing to ask questions. Criteria 1, I'd like you to focus first on what is required to achieve a pass. To be awarded a pass, your lesson plan needs to include all stages of the lesson, and each stage should clearly align with the curriculum and your learning intentions. You also need to show that you've thought about student safety by identifying some key risks and explaining how you'll reduce or manage those. Your lesson should also provide an appropriate level of challenge for your chosen year level, and the activities, teaching strategies, and resources should all align with the pedagogical approach that you have selected. You'll also need to include ICT in at least one part of your lesson. This doesn't need to be really complicated, it simply needs to support learning in a meaningful way. Finally, you'll need to identify the main assessment task and recording instrument that align with your curriculum outcomes. Think about how you'll know that students have achieved the learning intentions that you have included in your lesson plan. Ensure that your assessment task gives the data or the knowledge to you as the teacher to measure the goals of your lesson. To move into the higher bands for this criteria, the recording instrument must be included in your plan. For example, in your plan, if you've said students are to complete a self-assessment at the end of the lesson, then a copy of the self-assessment is to be included within the lesson plan. For example, you can hyperlink it within the final stage in the third stage box. Criteria 2 is all about how clear your lesson is. So the focus is on whether or not another teacher could successfully deliver your lesson. They're just going to glance at it, grab what they need, and be able to implement everything because you've included a really detailed plan for them. To achieve a pass, your lesson needs to provide sufficient detail and clear, concise instructions. We do recommend bullet points within the stages of your lesson. Another teacher, as I said, should be able to pick up your lesson plan, spend a few minutes reading it, and confidently follow your lesson and teach the lesson to your chosen age group. This means your instructions should explain what the teacher is doing or what they need to do, what the students are doing, what resources are needed, and how the lesson progresses. Avoid writing in note form that only makes sense to you. Instead, provide enough information and detail that someone unfamiliar with your school and your lesson plan could follow it without needing to ask questions. An example of this that I'd like to share with you here, perhaps in stage 1 of your lesson you would like the CRT to run a warm-up game with your students. You would include obviously the name of the game, but you would move beyond this. You would include how to set up the game, perhaps include a diagram. You would include the rules, instructions of how to play, and if there was anything that you needed them to model or demonstrate, you would also include resources for this. If there was any safety reminders that they needed to discuss with your students, you would also include these as well. We move on to part 2 now, which explores a suggested timeline that yourself and your partner can use to complete the partner swap of your lessons, and it also looks at the checklist that you need to use when providing each other with feedback. This timeline is a guide. It is only a suggested timeline. We do encourage you to touch base with your partner as early as you can, and you might agree on a different timeline depending on your schedules. But as a guide, following this timeline as a team will set you up for success and ensure that your submission is ready and you have all the requirements to submit in week 12. Now, it is not shown in this template, but partner sign up is available from week 7 in your learning group. So have a look for the partner sign up thread for A3. Sign up with a partner, someone who you feel you will work well with, for assignment 3. And then during week 8, you both individually begin working on your lesson plan, ready to swap it following week 8. If you do not happen to sign up or you're unable to find a partner, please do not worry. Your OLA will allocate you a partner and let you know who they are at the beginning of week 9. Now, once you have connected with your partner, we encourage you to swap your completed lesson plan as early as you can. As a guide here, it does suggest that that needs to happen by Monday of week 10. Then you both fill in the checklist, and we're going to go through the feedback checklist now. So the checklist is included in the template that you will download from either the Padlet or the assignment details. It's here on the screen now. Rather than simply ticking boxes, please provide your partner with helpful comments that explain what has been done well and areas for improvements that could be made. Ensure your feedback is constructive to help your partner strengthen their lesson before completing their reflection. The final part of the assessment is your individual reflection. Using the feedback that you have received from your partner, explain whether you decided to keep or change aspects of your lesson. Most importantly, justify your decisions using academic literature from our unit, from our health and PE unit, curriculum documents, and wider sources. This is a critical reflection, so focus on explaining the revisions that you have made, the decisions, rather than just describing what you have done. Your reflection is completed within the assignment template. Again, remember to discuss your partner's feedback and explain whether you've accepted or rejected their suggestions. Supporting with literature. Criteria 4 looks at your academic writing skills, obviously your use of language, structure. If you've proofread your work, we can see that you've planned it well. It also needs to be reflective of the unit content, resources and vocabulary, and meeting the word counts. The final criteria assess your use of academic literature and your APA referencing. Please use APA 7 guidelines. Support your ideas with quality unit readings and scholarly sources, and make sure all in-text citations are included as reference list entries, please. If you do need help throughout the assignment, remember there are lots of support options available. You are very welcome to attend both live Collaborate sessions. We also encourage you to revisit the unit readings and the learning materials. We encourage you to check the APA referencing guide if you are a little unsure. The Assignment 3 Padlet is also another great resource. It includes the assignment details, templates to download, direct curriculum links, information on how to work successfully in a team, additional resources, for example, the Flipped Collaborate, recordings. It also includes ideas and examples for lesson ideas and so forth. Thank you again for watching. I hope this overview has helped clarify the requirements for A3. If you do have any questions, please post them in your learning group discussion board or bring them along to one of the live Collaborate sessions soon. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing your creative health and PE lessons. Thanks everyone.